Welcome to the inn. It's story time. Brutus is ready for a story. Our story today is The Children of Lir. Now, we're going to watch some videos on this and go through the story. So let's get started with the story.
King Lir lived in a castle with his wife and 4 children. When the king's wife died, the children...
Whoa, that's fast. That's really fast. Okay. There's a lot that happened before that. So, okay. King Lir, his wife was the daughter of the High King. So, there's that connection we need. And they had 4 children, and I can't pronounce the name of the children. But, so I've got another video. I'm going to let this person tell us how to pronounce the names. Okay, so if I can find the right spot.
And his 4 children, Fionnuala, A, Fiachra, and Con.
Okay, there, that was good. I can't say those names. I'm not from North Carolina. I have an accent, maybe. Okay, so we're back to the story. So, King Lir, his wife had passed, and he had the 4 beautiful children, which he loved dearly. Okay, so what happened next? Let's start the story again.
The king's wife died, the children missed her, so the king decided to marry again so the children could have another mother. The stepmother was beautiful but cruel.
Okay, they skipped a whole lot of, again. Okay, so, after his wife died, his father-in-law, the High King, who sent another one of his daughters, I think he had 3 daughters, sent another one of his daughters to marry King Lir and help raise his grandchildren. So we still have that connection to the High King. I think that's important, and they totally left that out. Okay.
When she married the king, she soon became jealous of the children because she knew Lir loved them more than her. One day she took the children to swim.
Okay. And there are a lot of extra things that happen in some of these stories, or at least versions that are passed down. I'd also heard a version that the reason that she was so jealous of the children was that she was barren. That she did not bear any children after marrying King Lir. So she became jealous of her late sister's children. So, just another twist to the story.
The children were swimming, she cast a spell on them, turning them into swans. The stepmother cast a spell that made the children spend 300 years on the lake, 300 years on the sea, and 300 on the waters of Inishglora. Only the sound of Christian bells could break the spell.
I've always wondered, if they heard the Christian bells before the end of the 900 years, would the spell be broken? But I've never heard the answer to that, so I'm not sure whether the full 900 years ends or if it is cut off early when they hear the bells.
The king went searching for his children and found 4 swans at the lake and found that his wife betrayed him, so he banished her from the kingdom. He spent the rest of his days by the lake until he died.
Okay, this is going really fast. Okay. The version I heard was that she, after cursing the children, she went to her father's castle, and she had told Lir the children were at her father's. She told her father the children were with Lir, but then they became concerned and messaged each other and found out the treachery that she had done. And so Lir went to her father's castle, confronted her there in front of her father. And her father, being so outraged at the loss of his grandchildren, he cursed her. He forced her through his power to name the worst fate she could have. And she spoke to be a demon of the night. And so he cursed her to be a demon of the night, and she flew off into the mist. So that's her punishment in the story as I have heard it. Back to the story.
After 300 years, the children went to the sea and spent their days on the cold and stormy sea until they could finally go to the warm waters of Inishglora. One day they finally heard the bells and were able to swim to...
And again, did they hear the bells before the end of the last 300 years? Never heard that in any of the versions that I've heard. And also, I've heard that they saw a monk, some say Patrick, some say just a monk, on the shore, and that they came and would talk because they still had their voices. Did I mention that before? They were able to speak, even though they were swans. And so they would speak to the monk, and the monk would preach to them. And so in some versions, it sounds like they actually did live out the full 300 years because they were interacting with this monk in their swan form. But then they heard the bells rang. Okay, let's correct this story.
The shore where they were transformed into humans. Soon after, the 900-year-old children had died and were finally reunited with their father and mother. King...
Okay, and in the version I heard, when the bell tolled, they came ashore and transformed back into human, but immediately started to age. And this is something that's throughout fairy lore, that people who go into the fairy realm, time is different. And as soon as they come back to the normal realm, they age rapidly. Like they may be only a few days in fairyland and be gone hundreds of years in our time. And as soon as they step back into our time, the age comes back, and usually they just turn to dust and die. And in this story I heard, they began to age rapidly, and the monk baptized them before they died, and then they died there, and he buried them all together there. So I wonder if there's ever any kind of information about, is there a grave that might actually be linked to this story? Because I think a lot of myths actually do link back to some kind of real story, maybe. But interesting. So what can we learn from the children of Lir, this tale? If you're a step-parent, be nice to your stepchildren. This is important. Okay, so thank you for joining me for story time. We will see you again at the end when we have another story night. See you later.